spaghetti-o. It look like we got Ricky Rose doing what he doing best, trolling on social media. Listen, man, I don't think Rick Ross get enough respect. Definitely for his music. But Rick Ross is a hell of an entertainer. Rick Ross is definitely a hell of an entertainer, man. So let's see what Rick Ross got, man. Shout out to Chigs. Rick Ross refuses Drake lawsuit slander after beatdown in Canada. Damn, what the hell is this about? Is this when Rick Ross got hit with the bing bop, boom bop, bing bop, bam?
From the Chicks Universe. And yo, today we talking about this man, Rick Ross. So for those of you who don't know, because you live under the rock or something, Rick Ross and Drake have been beefing. So it's really been like a year, about a year and some change since the whole Kendrick and Drake beef happened. Now, a lot of people felt as though Rick Ross never should have been in that beef, but somehow, some way he ended up getting in it over an uncleared record and over Drake allegedly calling to stop a French Montana record. So allegedly, that's really what started the beef between Rick Ross and Drake. Who knows if there was something a little bit more behind the scenes, but it spiraled into whatever it ended up turning into be, which is an absolute cluster. Rick Ross calling Drake white boy, and you know, it ended up sticking around a little bit, and that ended up being ultimately the narrative that Kendrick would go ahead to run away with. Rick Ross was actually asked today, how does he feel about the UMG Drake lawsuit situation? And it's funny because up until I saw the video, I didn't even clock that out of all the people that was beefing with Drake, Rick Ross hasn't said anything about the UMG lawsuit. And Rick Ross was the most vocal when it came to beefing with Drake, of course, with the exception of Kendrick Lamar, who was on wax. But as far as off wax, Rick Ross was the most vocal when he was beefing with Drake.
No, I know why Drake don't do what I do when I talk and he don't talk. He'll take a picture and post because he got ghostwriters for his fucking captions. Listen to me, he got people sitting around, what's Rick gonna do next? Let's go, come up with it. Come on, BBL Drizzy, just pick your phone up and talk to the people. You okay?
Yo, Rick Ross is funny as hell. Sorry, I'm eating my lunch. I don't care. I'm hungry. I just got done working out. Yo, Rick Ross is hilarious on Instagram, on social media. That dude is hilarious, man.
We know you may be shallow. We know, but everything fine. Everything's going to be okay. It's therapeutic. It's therapeutic. Release what's inside of you. It's called Earth Strong.
And you know what? Drake has really hasn't. Why has Drake been so hush-mouthed on Rick Ross? That's very interesting because it seems like, you know, Drake loves to sneak diss and likes to be petty, but he don't really do anything to Rick Ross. Is it because Rick Ross, you know, Rick Ross might know a lot more than people think, you know? So I think it's a reason why Drake don't really respond to. I think that's the reason why Drake don't respond to Rick Ross, because Rick Ross and them, you know, it seemed like, I don't know them in real life or nothing like that, but it seemed like they had a pretty close bond, you know, when they was making some good music, and they made some good music together. I can't lie. I like the songs that Rick Ross and Drake made, but now that I'm thinking about it, why is it that Drake don't really respond to Rick Ross? Maybe because Rick Ross may know a lot more than, you know, the average person.
I got one more question for BBL Drizzy. One more question. How long you gonna stay on that plane? It's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's a 1978 cargo plane, wasn't built for humans. It's dangerous. Imagine a white boy with the soul plane. Ah! Imagine a white boy with the soul. How that boy Casanat do? Hey, no, let's wait for Drake. Soul Plane, come on, man. You rich. You deserve better.
So naturally, you would assume Ross would take the opportunity to throw this whole Drake lawsuit in his face. However, this is actually what he had to say.
UMG lawsuit hasn't been thrown out yet. I mean, do you think that'll benefit artists such as yourself if Drake wins the lawsuit?
I have no input on that. None.
Now, a lot of people are wondering why he had nothing to say. Because, as I just said, right, during the beef, off the wax, he was the most vocal. A lot of people are wondering why not take advantage of this UMG situation. Of course, naturally, people are going to say the funniest things. They're saying pretty much Rick Ross got his ass whooped in Canada, so he knows a lot better than to speak on Drake ever again.
Bing bop, boom bop, bing bop, bam.
Which is hilarious. I honestly do not believe that's the truth. Not saying that he didn't have hands put on him in Canada, yes, but I don't think that's the reason why he's not mentioning Drake. But it is odd that he's not mentioning anything about the lawsuit, because he has such strong things to say during the beef, especially in the record that he dropped when he called Drake a white.
Maybe it's because he don't want to be involved into a lawsuit. You know, A beef is one thing, it's on wax, but documents and feds, yeah, I would stay away from that too. So, especially if you know some things that might, they might send you some papers, so maybe Rick Ross is doing it because he may know a little bit too much and he don't want to be involved. He want to stay away from this lawsuit. He want to stay as far away from this lawsuit as he can, because he might know more information that he don't want to be questioned about.
Boy, and absolutely violated him and his personality. It's funny because in champagne moments, Rick Ross did not hold back at all. He doesn't hold back to the point where not only does he speak on Drake, he speaks on his label situation as well, and he goes into the ghostwriting rumors. Ghostwriters, they got to floss what you could have had. Record label taking a loss, are you in your bag? You a worker wanting to chart, don't make me laugh. Get to mine, tell by my watch, this a different time. He not only does he speak on Drake, he speaks on his record label, he speaks on the ghostwriting allegations, and he even speaks on Drake's tumultuous relationship with his record label. So if he speaks on all those things in the record, a lot of people are wondering, why not speak on the UMG lawsuit in general? Maybe him and Drake are getting back to good terms. Maybe there's a Drake feature and Drake featuring Rick Ross down the line. Maybe they squash the beef, or maybe just Ross knows better than to put Drake's name in his mouth. Who knows? Or it's exactly what I'm hoping that it is. Rick Ross is just moving towards a more mature route when it comes to this whole Drake situation. And there's no need to kick somebody when they're down. It's clear Drake lost the battle to Kendrick Lamar. There's no need to throw salt on the wound. Let bygones be bygones. What they were beefing over in particular wasn't even really that serious. And between the two of them, although words were exchanged during the war, nothing too crazy was even said. So the relationship is more than likely repairable. So hopefully that's what the situation is. This is Ross moving away from an immature beef and just being a little bit more mature and just paying a little bit more respect to the relationship that he has in the industry. But that's just what I'm hoping is going.
I don't think it has nothing to do about maturity, immaturity, none of that. I don't think he just want to be involved with court papers. He don't want to be involved with the feds, because, it's a lot of stuff going around, about Drake. So maybe he knows something that a lot of us don't know. So he's trying to stay far away from Drake as far as being in paperwork. When it comes to rapping and, lyrics, I'm sure he gonna take his jabs, but when it comes to documentation and lawsuits and attorneys and all this police, federal lawsuit type of thing, I think he just want to stay away from that. So I think that's why Rick Ross refuses to talk about the Drake lawsuit. I don't think it has nothing to do with him getting hit with a bing bop boom bop bing bop bam in Canada. And I don't think it has nothing to do with him being mature. I just think he may know a little bit more than the average. And he don't want to get caught up in papers. And he don't want to be questioned in court, maybe. I don't know. But y'all leave a comment down below, man. It's your boy DMD signing out.